Abdullahi, for joining us.
Thank you very much. Well, my pleasure to be with you again.
Well, when the rain when it falls, it falls, right? And things are happening left, right, and center. Even you are not left out. You are from Kwara State. You're a leader, politically speaking, from that state, a state where you served as a special advisor to become a commissioner, then becoming a minister, then you ran to become a governor. It means a lot, right?
Absolutely.
And you see that state falling apart because of the insecurity. Back to back in 7 days, there are 2 major attacks in Eruku, Ishakpa, and several other communities that are not really heavily reported. That side, Ekiti local government in Kwara State, heavily hit. And you look at, and that axis is around the border when you're traveling towards Kogi State. On the other hand, Osun and Ekiti. It means something that area is bombarded by the activities of these terrorists. But if you take that as a sample to a larger picture of what is happening in Nigeria, from Niger State to Kebbi State, these guys seems to have encircled us. Are you looking at it? Is there anything suspicious that all of a sudden, in this ember period, this is happening? And shortly after Trump has spoken, this is happening.
Well, I mean, thank you very much. We had our own meetings today, and some of the issues we considered is what kind of conversation should we be having about the state of insecurity in the country, because you need to have a country before you can say you are contesting for any election where a political party. But what is more important to us at this time is that our country is faced with a kind of security challenge that we probably had never faced in our history. So the immediate issues that the question you asked, it appeared that after President Trump made that statement on 31st of October, it does appear that at a point it was becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy. It appeared that the bandit, the criminal elements, the bandits and the insurgents saw that they could actually put their finger on a particular pressure point of our nation. And because they got the global attention, terrorism without attention is nothing. So terrorists, apart from killing people, also want it to be reported, and that's why they come out to claim that we did this. So in the aftermath of that statement, we saw an escalation in attacks. That's when Eruku happened and a couple of others as well. But what we are disturbed about is that the government is not being honest with Nigerians. We are glad, we are happy that some of the kidnapped people have rejoined their family, whatever the government did. But if you listen to the conversation, if you listen to the rhetoric of government officials, I listened to the IGP of police, Egbetokun, who said, the reason they did not arrest these kidnappers was because they came out by themselves and volunteered by themselves. So what it meant is that when criminals volunteered to come out and surrender their weapons, then they no longer have any liability to suffer under the law. That is one. Secondly, we listen to Mr. Bayon Onuga, who said, the reason the security forces did not attack the bandits was because they asked them nicely, and those people also say, okay, because you asked us nicely, we're going to. I mean, Bayon Onuga is someone I have a lot of respect for because of the work he has done in the media, but sometimes I think when he talks as if he thinks he's talking to morons. Because when you say that all you did was that you asked them nicely and they released the captives, it insults intelligence of right-thinking people. What is clear to us is that government is making deals with kidnappers. Government is making deals with insurgents. Perhaps because there may be different considerations, but perhaps because they want a quick win, they want something to celebrate, then they will not hesitate to make the kind of negotiation or deals that they are doing. They are doing deals with insurgents. They can't deny that, you know. But what happens is that when you make those kind
government is doing deals with?
Oh, I mean, they are doing deals with.
That's a heavy allegation.
Yeah, it's an allegation
of complicity.
It's not necessarily complicit. It's not really complicity. You see, the problem is that
these are terrorists.
Yeah, but okay.
And you're saying that the government is hands in gloves with terrorists.
Government said they engaged with them. Government said they leave the issue of whether how much they paid them, how they paid them. But the point is that for you to talk to them, you said you talked to them and they agreed to release the people they captured. Now it means that you are in contact with them, you knew them. So why didn't you arrest them? Has a single arrest been made? Because for you to talk to them, to agree to release the people they kidnapped, means that you know where they were. And you actually had conversations with them, whether you begged them or you bribed them or you did whatever, then they agreed to release those people.
There is a video, right, Mr. Abdullahi, that I fear, because there's social media video and we're processing it.
Yeah.
Processing it to know the source, the time code, on all the, but it has an ammo tank. Of the military, and you see that there was a military officer who came out from the ammo tank and gave one of the bandits who were and they had sophisticated weapons, all of them, young mid-aged boys who were on rampage and moving on motorbikes, and you could see another truck of police officers, Nigerian police force, and you see the military on the hand there where the ammo tank, and they were relating freely, and they were moving around. That will be subjected to proper scrutiny to be able to know where exactly this video was taken, when it was taken, and the circumstances around it. But what you are depicting, and so the fact that the Kebbi State governor said we did not pay them a dime. But you are suspecting to the extent that this government must have engaged them to the extent of maybe money exchange hands, or maybe there is a deal. Because if you see them, why not arrest them?
Then there were conversations. They had conversations with them. So you mean these people just agreed to surrender? They were asking, the case, they were asking for 100 million per victim. So you mean you just went to them and say, okay, don't do this again, you know, and they just say, okay,
did it for the greater good of securing the lives of these,
I'm not saying, I'm not questioning the intentions. The intention was to rescue these people, and that's what matters. I think it could be, but what we are saying is that the probable unintended consequence is that government is, by doing deals with kidnappers, are unwittingly reinforcing the banditry economy. Because you see what happened in Ekiti local government, like you said, after the release of the Eruku churchgoers, what happened the following day? The very next day, they went to Isapa, a neighboring community, and abducted 11 people. Up till now, those 11 people are still in captivity. So that is the danger of making deals with kidnappers, with criminals and terrorists. Because when you make this with them, you are actually admitting that you are powerless. You are actually showcasing your vulnerability, and you are encouraging them to do more. I have no doubt that the intention of government is to secure the quick release of the victims. We are glad that those victims have united with their family, but we are saying that the approach is not strategic, it's not sustainable. I'm glad now that President Tinubu we've been saying this forever, that government needed to escalate the security situation in the country, and we are glad that the president is finally listening and declaring the state of emergency. But again, we'll have to ask ourselves, what does that entail? And we'll have to watch in the coming days to see how this works. No, but for us, we are worried because let's take the issue of the schools that we have closed. When you closed schools because bandits could go and kidnap children, what you are saying is that I'm no longer capable of protecting my schools. And don't forget, the ideology of Boko Haram is Western education is forbidden. So by shutting down schools, you are reinforcing the Boko Haram ideology.
But again, is it not proactive? Do you have to wait until more students are kidnapped?
Can you protect your schools? Okay, let's take the Unity School. Unity schools are how many? 47? Are you telling me that the Nigerian government does not have the capacity to protect 47 schools? Are you telling me that if you mobilize the Nigerian civil defense and give them equipment, they cannot protect 47 schools? So So why is the government looking for easy way out? Because by shutting down these schools, now let me ask you a question, Shehu. What does the government need to see before they reopen those schools? When will the government be able to say the schools are now safe and the children can now go back to school? What would government need to see? Is it to put in place the right security arrangement? If they could do that, why didn't they do it? So government panicked and they felt that the easiest way out was to shut down the schools. And I'm telling you that the issue of the unity schools is just one instance. In northern Nigeria, so many schools have shut down. So, and that is why you see those who know are saying that we are endangering the future of our children. Terrorists are reshaping the future of Nigerian children. Because if we are kowtowing to them, if we are surrendering to them, we are allowing them to dictate how we run our society.
Let me know what the opposition and what you think about President Bola Tinubu's actions and reactions to what has happened in the past days. First and foremost, cancelled his trip to South Africa at the G20 meeting, cancelled his meeting to Angola, made a decisive decision on withdrawing the number of police officers that we don't even have enough to cover and protect citizens that are protecting politically exposed persons and VIPs. Already, one of the lawmakers is already scared because the lack of protection on them as politicians portends danger to their lives, and already saying you have to define what a VIP is, because some of them are now being threatened in their localities. Now, he took a decision again today, this evening, saying there is a state of emergency on security in Nigeria. More hiring in the army, more hiring in the police. We need more boots on the ground. These are those who will say this is an action of a man who is resolute in fighting the challenges. What do you make of that?
Well, I mean, we must commend the president for the latest action of declaring the state of emergency on security, because that's what they ought to have done all along. We have said it repeatedly that the government needed to raise security alert in the country, and we're glad that he's finally responding. But you see, this is not the first time that they say, oh, we are withdrawing policemen from VIPs. Even today, I saw so many VIPs and I still saw policemen with them. So is it that it has not taken effect? Some of these things government said, and like we said when it was first announced, we say it's just drama. It's not strategy. Saying that you are withdrawing police from VIP is good for the headlines. But in real terms, what does it mean? Look, so the security situation in this country, and like you mentioned, you say you saw a video and you saw the kind of sophisticated weapons that is in the hands of these insurgents. With due respect to the police, and I know our Nigerian police can do a lot, but what we are saying is that a police system that is demoralized, that is demotivated, if you know the condition under which this police, our police officers, our policemen serve, you will feel sorry for the Nigerian state. Go to the barracks and see where these policemen live. So there are a lot of issues here. Do they have the capacity to combat these insurgents? You know, recruiting, you recruit 100,000 or 50,000 more policemen. Then you start training them today. You are preparing, you are recruiting your soldiers when the war has already started. Well, it's better late than never. But what we are saying is that there is a lot of structural issues that we need to address as well. The question is, like you said, who gave information? Who directed the security in that secondary school? Who called them to withdraw from the place? Who called them to withdraw before the militants went to the school to attack children? So there are a lot of things, but overall, we are glad that the president is taking this decision. So we'll see how where it leads us in the coming.
So if you do the mathematics, for example, and I guess the reason why some of the lawmakers are unhappy, and I would pay attention on the National Assembly, and without having to look sometimes at the State Assembly. But for example, let me give you an example. We have 109 senators.
Yes.
Let's assume, because police protection don't come in single,
maybe two or three.
So let's say two people are protecting one senator.
Yes.
2 police officers times 109, it gives you 720. You have, it's give you 218. Sorry, you have 360 members of the House of Reps.
Yes.
Let's assume two of them are protecting them.
Yes.
So it gives you 720.
Yes.
If you put all the numbers together, it's a little short of 1,000.
Yes.
Only. I'm not talking about those ones who are guarding the institution itself. And I know that the Senate President has more than two.
Yes.
The Deputy Senate President has more than two. The
Yes.
Speaker of the House has more than two.
Yes.
The Deputy Speaker has more than two. The leaders have more than two. And you look at it. So let's assume that about 1,000 plus are guarding the National Assembly and the lawmakers every day. And we have less than 60 what's it called now? Unity schools in Nigeria.
Yes.
Are you saying 1,000 police officers cannot safeguard these schools? That's on one hand.
Yeah.
Look at 36 states of the Federation, and you have a minimum of 15 members of the Assembly, and they have another 2 per member. It's just a mess that we have. Less than 450,000 police officers, over 100,000 guarding VIPs. But that you said today that not all of them, and I'm not sure if that is being executed. And the president needs to pay attention. I mean, if you give an order as a president, and this is not we've had it several times. A lot of the IG, even roadblocks. When you say dismantle roadblocks goes back, and you see police officers going back to the road.
This year alone, we've had it twice. And I'm telling you that this forest guard that they have just recruited to augment the police, we see them around now in towns following VIPs. Even the new forest guard that they have recruited. You know, so what I'm saying is that when you say this, the whole thing is about leadership. The whole thing is about governance. It's about whether this government had the political will. I mean, we keep saying it's better late than never, but if this government had done what they ought to have done in the last 2 years, we'll probably not be in this mess that we are in. Why did it take President Trump making a statement for us to start jumping around and remembering that we could declare a state of emergency, we could withdraw policemen from VIP, we could do all this dancing around? Why did it take President Trump making a comment before the president remembers that he needed to nominate ambassadors? So it's a ridiculous system. This government in the last 2 years have been obsessed with politics and politicking. That's all that concerned them. So now they are doing all this fire brigade thing because but I'm glad that the National Assembly people who are saying, your mandate we shall stand, now they are the same people now complaining, maybe because their security is so the important thing we need to pay attention to. I pray that whatever government is doing works, because like you said, my state is directly affected. Many other states are affected. We have relations all over the place, and this is a matter of life and death situation. So when we talk like this, we are not talking just as partisan. We are talking because we are Nigerian citizens, and we want whatever government is doing to work, because we need to have a country to be able to play politics. We need to have people in place before. I mean, if this situation continues, we may not even be able to conduct a credible election. So we are glad that we pray that this works. But what we are saying is that this government should pay attention to what they need to do, because hey, in the midst of all this, what happened yesterday? The president already appointed a campaign DG for 2027 election. So what does that communicate? What does that say?
But I mean, there are also concerns that some of you in opposition are feeling this. Some of you in the opposition are feeling
how
some of you have your delegates already in Washington DC preaching against the country.
No.
Preaching
we
with the hope of bringing down the
I can tell you, the African Democratic Congress does not engage in that kind of politics. That's what APC did. That's what they did. They were the ones. If APC were to be in opposition today, they would have heated up this country so badly that the government will not be.
You are one of the strategists at that time.
No, I wasn't.
You worked with Dr. Kayode. You were.
No, I wasn't part of that. We were doing policy. We were doing policy strategy.
The people who are. What I'm saying in the background.
What I'm saying.
Yourself, Dr. Kayode, a whole lot of you were the think tank. You are the brain box of the APC in the beginning.
I can tell you that I know exactly what I did with the APC, and I can defend my record with the APC. But what I'm saying here is that today when you say that the opposition ADC or whatever opposition is in Washington DC, we don't do that kind of politics. And that was why we devoted our meeting today discussing what alternatives we can prefer to what the government could do. Right?
On the final note, Mr. Abdullahi, and there is a warring trend in parts of Africa. Today, there is a story about military officers in Guinea-Bissau who have announced a coup, are taking total control of that country. They've suspended the electoral process. They closed the borders, and then 3 days after the country legislative presidential elections, and that country is now in the hands of the military, and total control of the electoral process, elections that just took place a few days ago. And this is worrying because this trend, with the pressure overseas and the rumors of coup d'etat and what we are seeing in our neighborhood, how serious do you think our politicians, and some of you who are in the hillock, how serious do you think governance could be? Nigerians and can never be taken for granted any longer.
No, you see, like I repeatedly said, we are in this mess today as a country because of the kind of politics we have played. The political elite have lost the trust of the people, lost the confidence of the people, because repeatedly, the ordinary people don't feel that this democracy is working for them. We have a duty to make democracy work for the people. We have a duty as political elites to make the people know that the reason we are in office is to serve them. If we don't do that, God forbid anything happen like that, Nigerians, especially young people who never lived under the military rule, will probably think that is a path to salvation. It's only those of us who have lived under military rule know that it's not an option for any country, and that we have to protect this democracy with whatever we have. But government, and I will say this, and this is quite significant, and this is why government has to realize that destabilizing opposition political party does not help democracy. Democracy is not just about filing out to vote. It's about the quality of conversation, the options that it gives to citizens. So if government makes it a policy to destroy all opposition political parties so that they will be the only party existing, they are undermining democracy. They are doing what enemies of democracy do, and they have to stop it.
Bolaji.